600 coaches, and only a few survived because they got all inspired, they got all great, they had this great, but they couldn't build a business. They couldn't get the clients, and I didn't know how to teach them to do it. I partnered up with a guy now, and I started the company over. And now I have coaches that make $20,000 a month. One coach makes $30,000 a month. I mean, it's shocking to me how well they're doing. I could not do it. It's my partner who's a salesperson. He teaches them how to get clients and sell. I give the information. Every week. And what we do is what I found. And with coaching, whoever you learn coaching with, you go out there as a coach. If you're not being coached every week, it's very hard to be successful as a coach. Just to keep that in mind. Amen.
I'm one of the founding members of ICF, International Coach.
And y'all teach that? Well, here's what we do. Founding member. So here's what happens. For us, we teach a coaching course. But if you want to be a Mars Venus coach, then there's a little licensing fee. And the licensing fee is just paying for 3 coaching sessions a week. Our office coaches our coaches to have the name Mars Venus Coach. They can learn our stuff. We'll teach it to anybody. But to say you're Mars Venus Coach, our name's on the line. Our coaches are all successful. No other coaching company can say that. I don't want to say all of them are successful. All of them are happy. About 30%, 40% are actually making an amazing living doing it. And they're the ones that get coached by Rich every week. They think he's the greatest guy in the world. He hammers them. He gets them out there. You got to keep putting yourself out there. And then we have a marketing coach, and then we have an information coach, and I come on sometimes and coach him as well. So we got 3 times a week. Because if you, as a coach, are getting benefit from being a coach 3 times a week, it's lively in your awareness. Oh, this helped me so much, it'll probably help you. It's got to be lively in your awareness. This has helped me so much, it'll probably help you. It's got to be like that. So, and he figured that out. So then I went back and I'm doing the coaching thing again. Because I didn't want to train people, have them go out there and then be all disappointed because they're not like suddenly successful or whatever. The talk I used to give to them at least, was the going away talk, because I do part of the training for them. And I go away and leave them with Rich. I don't even know what he teaches them, I just know it works. We each have he's got his role, I got my role, you know. But what I point out is for me, one of the biggest turning points in terms of my success, a big risk I took, and for me the risk, I mean I've taken lots of risks, but one of the risks was, Minute from Mars was doing pretty well, and infomercial companies were approaching me. Now, infomercials companies have can be really sleazy, and a lot of them really are, and they're very deceptive, and they have a bad reputation. So I'm going, well, I could still get my message out to more people if the infomercial paid for itself. And so I'm thinking, should I do this, should I not? Should I do this? For months, I'm thinking, should I do this, should I not? I just didn't know about everybody really who was my friend who I said, don't do it, don't do it. The people who wanted me to do it are calling me up, and I'm going, well, it would get my message out there. I could do it my own way. I'm not sleazy and whatever. And I did do it my own way. But this was the process how I got there. So my wife and I were on a little vacation, and we were going to see Ashland, where they have the Shakespeare festivals in California. And you have to get reservations a year in advance. I didn't know that. I figured, hey, we're driving through Ashland. I'll get us some tickets. We'll go see the show. My wife looks at me like, you don't get tickets at the last minute. You got to get them a year in advance, John. I said, watch me. So, anyway, my kids say, like, the miracle man, how do you do it? But I understood his faith. So I go there. I figure, hey, there'll be somebody who doesn't have their ticket, and I'll just go and buy it. You know, I've been around enough that it happens. So I go before the show, and I arrive thinking I'm going to get a ticket from somebody, and there's this mob of 40 people. They're all waiting for somebody to come with a ticket. Somebody comes in, even before I see him come in, the mob just stands on there. I want it, and that's certainly not my style. You know, I put myself out there, but I don't hound on people or push like that. Or it's just not me. So I'm sitting back there, and next person comes, they descend on him. And I'm going, gee, you know, this is not my style. There's got to be another way to do this. So then I noticed the next person who comes up went over to this person over there, and they exchanged money for tickets. And I go, what just happened? That person had a sign that said, need 2 tickets to Midnight Summer Spring. And the person went and sold their ticket, And now the person got their tickets and started to walk away. So I said, oh, well, I'll get a sign and do what that person did. So I went up to them and said, can I have your sign? So I now stood where they were standing. The mob was standing here. Now you're coming up to sell your ticket, and you see me, you need 2 tickets for this, and you see this mob. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to me. You don't want a mob descending on you. So I'm standing there. Literally, the next person came up to me, and if they had tickets, there were some other plays, but if they had Midsummer Night's Dream, they came up to me, and they said, I've got 2 tickets. I said, oh, good. Here's my money. I'll pay you a ticket. I have the 2 tickets. But they were like the best tickets. So I thought I'd hang around a little bit longer. I kept my sign up. Next person came up with tickets. They were better tickets. I said, I'll buy those tickets. So I bought those tickets, and I said, and then I didn't look at the mob. I went over to a lady, and I just said, would you like 2 tickets to Midsummer Night's Dream? She goes, oh, really? I said, yes, I got them. And I gave her the ones that I didn't want. So she now bought those tickets for me. And then the next person came. I'm still in there like, I'm now the ticket guy, trying to get the best seats. And I got this sort of little harem of women starting over here. You know, they're like, can I be next? Can I give you next? Yeah, sure. And I get the next ticket, and I said, okay, this is good. So I got the tickets that I wanted. Okay, so, and I already sold like 6 or 8 tickets over here to these women who were getting their tickets. And the big mob's still standing over there waiting to descend on somebody. I'm right in front of them. I'm only this far away, you know. And I've got my little sign. So now I've got my tickets, and I start to go away. Nobody asked me for my sign.
Wow.
So I went up to one of the women who had been waiting there, who couldn't get a ticket from me. And I said, would you like my sign? She said, really? Now there was a ticket booth right there with free pens to make your own sign. You know, it was like anybody could get your own sign. But it was like, nobody thought of it. It's like, so she really said, yes, you can have my sign. She said, hey, I get the sign. She came, sat in my spot, and carried on. I went off. And for me, that was my sign. That my infomercial would simply be, I'm not going to be one of these infomercials that hypes it, that says, this is what you'll get, this is what you'll get. I'm going to give everybody my best stuff in a 30-minute infomercial. I'm going to give you my best stuff, and if you want more, here's how you get it. So there was a little commercials there. But it wasn't like teasing. You'll see them so often, they just tease. They don't tell you how, they don't tell you the magic, whatever it is. And so I'm just going to give my best stuff. And actually for me, if it just breaks even, I'd be fine. I wanted to keep it on air, and I kept it on air longer in the 90s than any infomercial on TV. Because I just kept airing the show over and over. And what came in, I made about $1 million on it, but infomercials can make a lot if they work. To go that long, it was pretty much to be times where we're losing money. I said just keep putting the ideas out there. I was making money on all the books that we're selling too. But the message was not a sort of manipulative infomercial, but putting my best message out there, putting my sign up. All I have to do is put my sign. For all of you that are looking for me, here I am. For all you are looking for, here I am. And not worrying about having to try to close everybody and sell everybody. So you've got to, the hard sell, many of us don't want to do that. But you've got to put up your sign. That's the whole thing. And keep putting up your sign, keep putting up your sign. And that line will start to form. But it doesn't form right away. It forms based upon one success, and you get a charisma about you. It's like a magnetic field that is around you. One person benefits from what you're selling or what you have to offer. It's a real benefit. Another one, your charisma is more. Another one is, it's a snowball. It has to be. You know, the foundation of Men Are From Mars, getting to it, was 10 years of workshops where everybody loved my workshop. And people where I live were all saying it was changing their lives. I mean, so it wasn't just I wrote this book and I marketed it, whatever. It was me building a personal charisma and believing in it and continuing to believe in it when other people were banging on it even after it was out there. It took a year before it became a bestseller. It was rejected by everybody in the press, in the written press. When it finally, after 7 months, it went on the bottom of the Publishers Weekly bestseller list in number 10 slot. I was like in heaven. And I'm going to the bookstores. It's a bestseller. Where's the book? We don't have it. Where is it? Why don't you have it? We sold out. Well, why didn't you get more? And they said, well, I don't know. And they went and they said, oh, it's out of print. For 4 weeks after 6 or 7 months, it was on the bestseller list in the bottom slots for 4 months, 11 and 10, 9, 8. For four weeks, it was there. And it was sold out for the next, it was out of print for the next 4 months or 5 months. My publisher said, oh, we're not going to put it in hardback. We'll just come out with a paperback in January. They never came out with a paperback in January. They sat on 200,000 paperbacks. That book stayed in hardback for 12 years in hardback
Wow.
as a bestseller. All the time. I mean, it was, but look at, it was like pulling back the bow. You know, every single, imagine the angst I went through. My own publisher has put my book out of print when I'm finally on a bestseller list, which is the best advertising you could have back then, was actually be on the Publisher's Weekly. So it was a, oh, I mean, I got story after story of, I was on a whole show. One more story on this one, and I'll go say that. So I'm getting on the Phil Donahue show. This is one of the last Phil Donahue shows. It was the day I was in New York. They're going to do a whole show on my book and my message. I was so excited. They let me bring 3 couples on who benefited. What I didn't know is they had 6 couples who had therapists with them who didn't benefit, who didn't like my message. And they were going to do, the whole show was going to be a hit piece on me. But Phil said it had to be a little balanced, so he had some supporters. So it's going to be this big controversial show. Then I get there and I'm finding out they've got all these experts, therapists who are against my message. I'm like, I'm still doing it. I'm getting national TV. I have my voice to say. And then what happens is that we canceled the show. So what? And they said that this was in 1993, the first bombing of the Trade Center. I was in New York. So a huge emergency, all this stuff. They went there, they did a live show, they interviewed women and everything. And they said, so we're going to have to cancel. I said, you don't understand, I can't cancel. I'm booked up for the next year. I have seminars, talks, everything booked up. This would be crazy for me to try to get back. We have to do the show. We have to do, no, we can't do the show, but we have to do the show. There's something when your soul talks, but we have to. And they said, you don't even want this show. This is 200 women in a room who've just experienced a terrorist attack. They're not going to be very happy and trusting. I said, I don't care. I have to do the show. So what I didn't, and what happened was these women were all riled up, mostly women in this audience, and here I am talking about how wonderful men are. Terrorist attack just occurred by men. So this show was so slanted against me. They attacked me so much. I'm just sort of sitting there. You know, I've got relationship skills. I'm listening and rephrasing, whatever. So what you're saying, I took a little of my counseling magic, not being so upset about it at all. And there's this huge imbalance was happening, of complete attack of this young guy, Phil. And actually I knew this would happen. In my mind I said, Phil will save the day. Because Phil is the ultimate balancer.
Yeah.
Remember Phil Donahue?
Yeah.
He was
Yep.
always like this side to this
Absolutely.
side.
Yeah.
It was all going one way. And I'm going, I just kept my mouth shut. And Phil started to defend me. Defend men. Don't you think his point, the cave, doesn't your husband sometimes go to his cave when he gets home? I know I do. I know he didn't say that in the beginning. Then you heard she goes, yes he does, and he shouldn't. So maybe what he's saying is that there's some benefit for men and that we have differences and we can learn to accept those differences. Sometimes I go, like, yeah, he started to hit, he read my book, but it was just such an imbalance. He just had to be a guy and balance it. And at the end, he gave this great endorsement. It's like, I think this is something we should all look at and really realize that there is a difference between, and he just did his own thing. Because I'd read one of his books, he was even talking about differences between men and women. So he just, and I'm just sitting there just smiling. What you learn is whenever they say something good about you on TV, don't talk. Just let them keep talking. Yeah,
It's life in general, isn't it?
let him keep going. And he just, so then I had this great show with Phil. And what do I care about what anybody else is saying?